Hi, I'm going to ask you a few questions regarding your thoughts on abortion. Should women have the right to abort or should it be banned?
Yes, women should have the right to abort.
Can you please elaborate?
I think that women should be able to make their own decisions and not be told by the government or anyone else what they should do with their bodies.
Okay. Would education on safe sex at a young age decrease the amount of unplanned pregnancies?
I would think so, yes.
Another question I have for you is, what if a female is taking birth control and uses protection but still gets pregnant? Should she still be able to abort the baby?
Yes, absolutely. A woman should have her own choice regardless of the circumstances of the pregnancy.
Okay, thank you. Another question I have for you is, do you think, in your opinion, is abortion murder? If so, explain.
No, it is not murder, and it's not murder. I think it's more important for the pregnant mother and her well-being rather than the unborn child. And I don't think it's murder at all. I think it's doing the best for a young mother, not knowing specific circumstances, but usually they are not conducive for someone to have a baby.
Okay. Does the abortion empower women?
No. Oh, empower women? Yes, I guess, because they're making their own decisions, so yes.
Okay. Is abortion considered an alternative form of contraception?
Never, no. Not at all, in my mind.
Another question I have for you is there such thing as an unwanted child?
No.
Why? Because some people might say yes, but you're saying no.
Because I think if if the circumstances are correct, if there's two people who love each other and are married, then pregnancy and having a child is a good thing, and that's a wanted child. But you wouldn't bring an unwanted child into the world if the circumstances were not right. That's a difficult question, though. But I don't believe there's any such thing as an unwanted child. No.
I agree. What if the female is raped and gets pregnant?
I would still support that she get an abortion. Those circumstances aren't healthy for the mother emotionally. And
why? Because every time if she did have the baby,
if she had a baby, it would just be a terrible memory of something that was not her fault, that was forced upon her, and she didn't choose this. I think a woman should choose to have a baby. There's so many women that can't have children, that wish to become pregnant and can't have babies, that these circumstances under which people become pregnant need to be readdressed.
Okay. Should tax dollars be put towards abortion?
That's a good question, yes.
Why?
Because I don't think there are people who could afford abortion. So if someone is in a position and in need of an abortion, I think they should be able to have the financial wherewithal in any way they can to get an abortion. They shouldn't just have a child because they can't afford not to.
Okay. Another important question I have for you is, should the father of the child have a say in abortion, or do you think it's the woman's say?
I think it's ultimately the woman's, but a father should have a say, but the ultimate decision is the woman's.
What if they don't agree?
If they don't agree,
because the father is probably supporting.
Then I would say it's not a good environment to have a child in. If they are in disagreement before she even has a child, I would not enter a relationship of any kind and have a child with this person who doesn't support the abortion.
Okay. Should abortion laws be determined at the deferral?
And by the way, can I add something?
Of course. No, I love the input.
If they are so in love and they are disagreement and she has the abortion, then most likely they would come to terms and agree and down the line have a child when the circumstances were better. whether it's an age thing, a financial thing. So usually that would be the case if you're in a relationship and you disagree with someone.
Yes, but a lot of people have a child and aren't happily married or have a lot of problems and...
Right. But I think down the line, if they were, let's say they weren't married and she became pregnant and they said, oh, well, let's get married, which is often the case, I don't agree with that. I think if they have issues and they work them out, then eventually, if the situation is correct, they're meant to get married and have a child under healthier circumstances.
Okay, thank you. Should abortion laws be determined at the deferral? One law applies to all 50 states or state level, which every state applies to its own abortion laws, and why?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thank you.
I think it should be across the board the same. Every state should have the same law.
Why? Because in your opinion, you think all states are equal, or you just think that...
I just think every woman in every state, regardless, should have the same opportunity to make a decision for herself.
Okay.
With her body.
And another question, should a doctor be able to refuse to give an abortion?
Sure. Doctors should be able to do whatever he wants to do.
But it's not them having the baby, so why, I don't, like,
Well,
why are you saying yes or no?
Because a mother can always find another doctor if they are so intent on having the abortion. But if a doctor is not supportive of it, I think that's fine. I think you go somewhere else. I think that's fine.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm going to ask you a few more questions. Do you think age has an impact on a woman's decision to have an abortion?
I do. I think obviously the older a woman is, the more life experiences she has to be able to make the decision. But a young girl who becomes accidentally pregnant or raped or gets pregnant from rape certainly has a mature support group that will help her make a intelligent decision about, depending on the circumstances.
Okay.
So age is important. A young girl should definitely consult with an older, more mature woman who could direct her.
Okay. Is an embryo considered living? If it is living, then does it have a right to life as a person?
Yes, an embryo is a live, living cell or person. And of course it has a right to live, but again, if it's not under the correct circumstances to bring a person into the world, a child into the world, then I firmly believe in abortion.
Okay. Another question I have for you is, do you think a woman needs to be married to make the decision to have an abortion?
No, that's a good question. Most people who have abortions probably aren't married, so...
Why do you say that?
Because I think abortion is more prevalent among women who are probably not from a strong financial background and would probably be part of a younger generation and would probably be seeking an abortion because of lack of knowledge of birth control or a rape or something.
Okay.
Irresponsible behavior.
Gotcha. Do you think a woman needs to be married to make the decision to have an abortion?
No, that's the question you asked me.
Oh my God, you're right. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Do you think a woman needs to have a partner?
No.
Why?
I think this is an independent decision. I think if one chooses an abortion, to have a support group is very helpful, but I don't think it's required or necessary.
Okay. Would it make a difference if you knew the sex of the child?
No. An abortion the decision to have an abortion should be made regardless of the sex of the child or even knowing if your child is going to be healthy or perhaps be born with an illness. I think that is irrelevant when it comes to abortion itself.
Okay. And the last question I have for you today is, if you knew the details of what happens during an abortion, would that affect your decision to have one?
That's interesting because I'm sure it's a very uncomfortable and emotionally and physically painful procedure. But I think it's a moral issue more than either of those things. So, regardless of the pain or emotionally or physically, I think abortion is a moral issue, and I would still condone abortion.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to say thank you for meeting with me today, and your answers were great.
Thank you.
The next person I interview is Katie Cooper, and she is pro-life on the topic of abortion.
Do you have to record me?
Yeah. What's your name?
Katie Cooper,
Where are you from?
here, FM,
Okay, and how old are you?
21.
Okay, great. I'm just going to ask you a few questions regarding abortion.
Okay.
The first question is, should women have the right to abort or should it be banned?
I think it should be banned
Why do you say that?
because if you think that you're able to have sex without protection, then you should be able to take care of a kid. You should be able to deal with the outcomes of that.
Okay. Would education on safe sex at a young age decrease the amount of unplanned pregnancies?
I think so, yeah.
Why? Just
I think it would be a good thing because then you know what you're getting into if you're going to plan to have unsafe sex. So knowing what you're going to have to do to take care of a kid would make people not want to do that.
okay. What if a female is taking birth control and uses protection but still gets pregnant? Should she still abort the baby?
I don't think so because if you're having sex, you know what can happen. Even if you're trying to be safe, that's good, but you ultimately know what could happen if you have sex regardless. You know that there's a chance.
Okay. Do you think, in your opinion, is abortion murder? If so, explain.
I think it is, yeah. Because if you have a baby in you that has a heartbeat, then why is that any different than a person that has a heartbeat?
Okay. Does the abortion empower women, do you think?
I think it makes it people feel like they can do whatever they want and not have to deal with the outcomes of it, which isn't good because you should be able to be accountable for your actions.
Okay. The next question is abortion considered an alternative form of contraception?
No, because that's just killing it, not having to deal with it. It's not like trying to prevent it. It's after the fact.
Okay. Is there such thing as an unwanted child?
I mean, there probably is an unwanted kid because they have sex and have a kid, but I think that if you're planning to have unsafe sex, you should want to have a kid. If you're gonna do that, you should know what can happen.
Mm-hmm. What if the female is raped and gets pregnant?
That's an iffy subject, but still, I think if it's not, obviously it's never the girl's fault that should happen, but it's not the kid's fault that you got raped, so I think that you could just make the best out of the situation. At least give it up for adoption if you don't want to have it.
Yeah. Do you think that tax dollars should be put towards abortion?
No, I think it should be towards birth control and education.
Why?
So that you don't have to do abortion, so that they know the repercussions, and then it'll try to prevent unsafe or unplanned pregnancy.
Okay. Should the father of the child have a say in abortion?
No. He decided to put it in you. That's his say.
Should abortion laws be determined at the deferral or state level? And what I mean by that is, should one law apply to all 50 states, or should each state have a different law?
Well, normally I think that every state should have different laws based on your people, but when it comes to murdering a child, I think that the nation needs to come together and realize that that's not okay.
Mm-hmm. Should a doctor be able to refuse to give an abortion?
Yes.
Why do you say yes?
Well, especially after it's a certain age. But I think that if the parents are just young teenagers that wanted to have sex, they shouldn't be able to be held accountable, and the doctor should be able to decide that it's their fault. So they have to deal with it.
Okay.
Deal with the repercussions.
Do you think age has an impact on a woman's decision to have an abortion?
Yes.
Why?
I think that if you're young and you don't want to be able to have a kid, then you're going to want to kill it. But if you're older, it still doesn't give you the right to kill it and to not deal with what you decided to do.
Okay. The next question is more of a scientific question, so answer to the best of your ability. Is an embryo considered living? If it's living, then does it have a right to live as a person? To life as a person?
An embryo is... I don't know if an embryo is scientifically, but I know that once it... Because embryo is technically, 2 cells? So, I mean, once it's past a certain amount of things so that it has its own heartbeat and can sustain outside of the human body, even if it's going to not have, like, a real life, like a functional life, then it shouldn't be altered with.
Okay. Do you think a woman needs to be married to make the decision to have an abortion?
I don't think that they should make the decision to do it at all. So I don't think that marriage really... I mean, marriage, you probably are in a more stable relationship, so you would want to be able to make that choice, but you're still, saying yes to possibly having a kid, regardless of your marital situation.
Okay, and the next question, do you think a woman needs a partner? A little similar to the last one.
No.
Why?
I mean, I think that there should be financially responsible, but I don't think that you need anyone to make it so that the kid is fine. So many people have single parents.
Would it make a difference if you knew the sex of the child? Why or why not?
I don't think so.
Why do you think that?
Because who cares if it's a boy or a girl?
And the last question is, if you knew the details of what happens during an abortion, would that affect your decision to have one?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think there's multiple ways to have abortion. I don't know. I've never really looked into it, but I think if you realize that they're gonna vacuum the fetus out of you, and I know that's one of them, I think that would change people's minds to realize what they're really doing.
All right, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.